The mockery of Earth. For centuries, Earth had tried to forge peace with the galaxy. The leaders of Earth, in their wisdom, believed that kindness and understanding were the keys to prosperity. They sent ambassadors to every corner of the galaxy, offering friendship and cooperation. They believed that Earth's compassion could unite the stars. But the galaxy didn't see it that way. To the advanced civilizations of the galaxy, Earth was a young, naive world. A planet of primitive species, they thought. How could Earth, a planet with limited technology and resources, challenge the might of the universe's more powerful empires? The other species laughed at the idea of Earth's kindness. They mocked the humans, calling them weak and foolish. It was almost as if the galaxy viewed Earth as a joke. As Earth reached out with open hands, the galaxy only saw an opportunity to exploit. Alien fleets came and went, taking Earth's resources and leaving nothing behind. Each time Earth made a plea for peace, the galaxy only mocked their efforts. Some races even began to invade Earth, testing its defenses, knowing there would be no retaliation. Earth's leaders, still clinging to their belief in kindness, would not strike back. They couldn't bring themselves to fight. Yet, as the galaxy's empires grew bolder, the mocking grew louder. The alien races began to take more than just resources. They enslaved entire cities, made humans work in dangerous mines, and took control of Earth's most valuable technologies. The humans had always believed in diplomacy, but now it seemed like diplomacy alone could not save them. The mocking wasn't just an insult, it was a threat. In the quiet corners of Earth's cities, whispers began to spread. People were tired of the constant abuse, tired of seeing their friends and family suffering under the heel of alien invaders. The planet's leaders were still talking about peace, but their people had started to question if kindness was the right path anymore. For the first time, a few brave souls began to speak up. They questioned the wisdom of peace when their enemies were only interested in domination. It was no longer about saving the planet. It was about survival. While Earth's leaders continued to send messages of goodwill to the stars, those on the front lines were already seeing the truth. In the deepest forests, on the highest mountains, and in the most secret bunkers, Earth's best scientists, engineers, and military leaders were already preparing. They were building weapons, not for peace, but for war. They knew they had to be ready, but they didn't dare speak openly about it. The people of Earth were not ready to lose the hope they had held onto for so long. It wasn't just about revenge. It was about survival. The humans tried to continue their peaceful existence, but the mocking never stopped. In fact, it grew worse. Alien ships flew over Earth, showing off their advanced technology, taunting the humans. Their leaders laughed and mocked Earth's efforts to stop them. They sent their ships to land in Earth's major cities, and without hesitation, they began taking more resources, more humans, and more control. The mocking had reached a fever pitch. The people of Earth watched in disbelief. The voices of those who wanted change grew louder. How could their leaders still cling to the hope of peace when the galaxy had shown them nothing but disrespect? The mocking was no longer just words, it was action. Earth's kindness had been twisted into a weakness, and it was being exploited at every turn. In the heart of the planet, a small group of military commanders had finally had enough. They met in secret, away from the eyes of the world. It was time to take a stand. They had studied the alien invaders, their technology, and their tactics. Earth's military might not have been as advanced as the galaxy's empires, but humanity had something those empires didn't: ingenuity. Humans had a way of thinking outside the box, of using their limited resources in creative ways that their enemies had never considered. It was time to show the galaxy that Earth wasn't weak. Earth wasn't foolish. Earth wasn't a joke. But for now, this was all hidden. The world still believed that kindness would win the day. People continued to send messages to the stars, hoping for peace. Yet, in the dark corners of Earth, the preparations were already underway. The mocking wouldn't last forever. Humanity was about to change. and the galaxy would soon learn just how dangerous an underestimated species could be. The rising tensions. The mocking of Earth had continued for years, but now something was different. The galaxy's laughter no longer felt like just an insult. It felt like a countdown to Earth's destruction. The peaceful attempts by Earth's leaders had failed time and again. The alien fleets had grown bolder, and their raids more frequent. The people of Earth had begun to feel the pressure. They no longer trusted that diplomacy would work. There was a growing sense of unease in the air, something more palpable than ever before. Families lived in fear, constantly looking up at the sky, wondering when the next invasion would begin. The major cities were fortified, but no one knew if those defenses would be enough to stop the alien onslaught. Amidst this uncertainty, some humans began to take matters into their own hands. Resistance groups, once small and scattered, began to organize more effectively. People from all walks of life, soldiers, scientists, engineers, and even ordinary citizens, came together with one shared goal: to defend their world, no matter the cost. While the galaxy's most powerful empires continued to plunder Earth's resources, Earth's military leaders made their first real decision to fight back. They had been silent for too long, but now they knew they had no choice. The situation had escalated to the point where resistance was no longer an option. It was a necessity. The leaders in charge of Earth's defense began making secretive moves. They met in hidden bunkers and underground facilities, far away from the eyes of alien forces. A new plan was being developed, one that combined the best Earth had to offer: human ingenuity, determination, and the will to survive. They began constructing advanced weapons, not from alien technology, but from Earth's own resources, reimagined and re-engineered. They had no other choice but to rely on their own strengths. Meanwhile, the public remained unaware of these preparations. The government continued to send out diplomatic messages, hoping the galaxy would change its mind. But in the streets, whispers of rebellion spread. People were losing faith in the peaceful ways they had once believed in so strongly. They began to talk of resistance movements, of defying the alien invaders, of fighting back. More and more citizens were beginning to think that kindness was a foolish, outdated idea. Only the strong would survive, and the galaxy had shown them no kindness. Across the planet, people began to quietly prepare. Some families hoarded supplies, others learned basic combat skills, and many simply waited for the inevitable. As alien ships continued to orbit Earth, humans were preparing in ways the invaders could never expect. Earth's people had learned the hard truth, that mercy and kindness were not enough to protect them. If they were going to survive, they had to fight for their future. The atmosphere of fear was turning into something else: anger. Anger towards the alien races who had mocked Earth's kindness. Anger at their leaders for not acting sooner, and most of all, anger at themselves for allowing things to go this far. The people of Earth were no longer content to be victims of a galactic joke. They had suffered long enough. Now, they were ready to rise up. The military knew that the time was almost at hand. They had studied the alien fleets, learning their weaknesses and their habits. It wasn't enough to simply defend. They had to strike first. Earth's forces were small, but they had something that the galaxy's empires did not: the will to fight for their home, their families, and their future. It was a force far more powerful than any alien technology. As the alien fleets continued their raids, the humans were preparing for something much larger. They had weapons in the works, unpredictable, dangerous weapons that would change the balance of power. But even as they prepared, the tension was unbearable. Every day that passed brought Earth closer to the brink of war. The invaders knew Earth was a challenge now, and they were watching closely, wondering if their mockery had gone too far. But Earth had not yet struck back. There was still time. The aliens were confident that the humans would never fight back, that their kindness would ultimately be their downfall. What they didn't know was that Earth had been preparing for this moment in silence. The galaxy's mocking laughter would soon turn to shock. Humanity would not go down without a fight. The first sparks of rebellion were already in the air. As Earth's leaders continued to secretly prepare for war, the people began to rise. The resistance was no longer just a handful of soldiers. It was an army of humanity, determined to take back what had been stolen from them. The next phase of the battle for Earth was about to begin, and the galaxy would soon learn that humanity's revenge was unstoppable. The turning point. The moment of change had arrived. The mocking laughter of the galaxy had pushed Earth beyond the point of no return. For years, humanity had been a punching bag, subjected to alien raids and insults. But now, Earth was ready to strike back. The human race had decided that they would no longer be the weak, kind-hearted species the galaxy thought they were. Behind the scenes, Earth's best minds had been working tirelessly. The secret projects that had been in development for years were finally ready. The first true weapons designed to fight back against the alien invaders had been completed. Earth's scientists had studied the technology left behind by the invaders, and with a touch of their own ingenuity, created machines and weapons that could rival the most advanced fleets in the galaxy. Humanity had taken their greatest weakness, being outmatched in technology, and turned it into their greatest strength. In a dark, quiet underground facility, a team of military leaders gathered around a map of Earth and the alien fleets surrounding it. The air was thick with anticipation. The leaders had been working on a plan to strike back, but now it was time to make a decision. They had only one chance. If they failed, Earth would fall. But if they succeeded, the galaxy would never again underestimate the power of humanity. The plan was risky, dangerous, and complicated, but it was the only one they had. Earth would no longer wait for the galaxy to show mercy. It would force them to. The human forces would launch a series of surprise attacks on key alien installations using their newly developed weapons. The element of surprise would be their greatest advantage, and Earth's military knew that the time had come to show the galaxy that Earth was not weak, not helpless, and certainly not to be mocked. As the world's leaders gave the final order, soldiers across the planet began to mobilize. The human resistance, once small and scattered, now stood as one united force. From every corner of the Earth, men and women of all ages, backgrounds, and skills came together to fight. It wasn't just about defending their homes anymore. It was about revenge, about showing the galaxy that humanity would never bow down again. In the heart of Earth's largest city, people were beginning to feel the change. News reports came in from around the globe, showing the first signs of Earth's counterattack. The public, who had once believed in diplomacy, were now cheering for the retaliation. Humanity was no longer playing the role of the victim. They were taking control of their own destiny. The alien forces were caught off guard. They had assumed Earth would never fight back. After all, their kindness had been mocked for so long. How could they suddenly turn violent? But the galaxy was about to learn a harsh lesson. Humanity had the heart, the ingenuity, and the strength to fight back when pushed to the edge. In space, the first shots were fired. Alien ships, once so confident, were struck by Earth's newly designed weapons. The battle was chaotic, fierce, and relentless. The aliens, unprepared for Earth's sudden retaliation, scrambled to regroup. But it was too late. The human resistance, empowered by their newfound strength and technology, began to push back. On the ground, soldiers fought with all their might. The world watched as humans, once thought to be weak, tore into the alien forces. The alien fleets above Earth had underestimated the human will to survive. Now, they were feeling the full weight of humanity's fury. Across the globe, humanity began to taste victory for the first time in years. The mockery that had been thrown at them by the galaxy was slowly being replaced by fear. The alien invaders, who once thought Earth would never strike back, were starting to realize that the humans were not the weaklings they had believed them to be. The tide had turned. But even as humanity's forces celebrated small victories, they knew the war was far from over. This was only the beginning. The alien fleets would retaliate. They would come back stronger and angrier than before. But Earth was ready. The mockery had turned to fear, and the galaxy was beginning to take notice. As the dust settled on Earth's first victory, the galaxy began to realize that their underestimation of humanity had been a grave mistake. The turning point had come, and now the true battle for Earth's survival was about to begin. Humanity had made its stand. The galaxy would never mock Earth's kindness again. The first victory. The first victory was a shockwave that rippled through the galaxy. Earth's military, once considered primitive and ill-prepared, had struck a devastating blow against the alien forces. It wasn't just a small win, it was a message. Humanity was no longer the weak, kind-hearted species they had been perceived as. They had just delivered a powerful punch, one that would change the balance of power across the stars. The alien fleet that had been stationed near Earth, overconfident and unaware of humanity's new capabilities, had been decimated. Earth's newly developed weapons, strange, unpredictable, and deadly, had caught the invaders completely off guard. They had underestimated humanity's ability to adapt and innovate, and now they were paying the price. On Earth, people were still in disbelief. The news was spreading like wildfire. For the first time in years, Earth's population was filled with a sense of hope. The mocking laughter of the galaxy, which had echoed in their ears for so long, had been silenced by Earth's unexpected triumph. It wasn't just a military victory. It was a symbolic one. It proved that humanity was capable of more than anyone had believed. The alien races, once so sure of their dominance, were now faced with a reality they had never imagined. Earth was not a planet to be laughed at, not a species to be ignored. The galaxy had made a grave mistake by underestimating humanity's resilience. As the news of Earth's victory spread, the other alien empires began to take notice. Some were angry, others were fearful. They had long thought that humanity's compassion and kindness made them weak, but now they were realizing that Earth had something far stronger, an unyielding will to survive, and a willingness to fight when pushed too far. But as much as Earth celebrated this victory, the war was far from over. The alien fleets, now enraged and humiliated, regrouped quickly. They had underestimated Earth's power, but they wouldn't make the same mistake again. The battle for Earth's future was about to intensify. The galaxy's empires, whose mocking laughter had turned to fear, were preparing for their counterattack. And yet, humanity's victory was a sign of things to come. Earth was no longer the victim. It was a force to be reckoned with. In the war rooms of Earth's leaders, the next steps were already being planned. They knew that this was just the first of many battles. They had taken one alien fleet down, but others were closing in, more powerful and better prepared. But humanity had tasted victory, and it fueled their determination. There was no going back now. Earth's people would fight until the last breath, until the last ounce of strength. The first victory had given humanity something even more powerful than new weapons. It had given them belief. The people of Earth now knew that they could stand up to the galaxy's most powerful empires. They had the power to turn the tide of this war. The mocking laughter of the alien invaders had been replaced with fear and respect. Across Earth, resistance movements grew stronger. Military bases were fortified, supplies were stockpiled, and every human, regardless of age or background, knew they had a role to play in this new chapter of their history. Earth had stood up once, and they would stand up again. As humanity prepared for the next phase of the battle, the galaxy was watching closely. Some alien empires, still in shock from the defeat, began to reconsider their strategies. Others, angry and determined to crush Earth's rebellion, began to move their fleets toward the planet. The war was far from over, but Earth's first victory had already sent a powerful message. The galaxy would never see humanity the same way again. The humans had shown the galaxy that their kindness was not weakness, it was strength. And now, the rest of the universe would have to reckon with the full force of humanity's vengeance. The final confrontation. The first victory had proven Earth's strength, But it was only the beginning of a larger, more dangerous battle. As the alien fleets regrouped, humanity braced itself for the final confrontation. This would not be a fight for territory or resources. It would be a fight for survival. The galaxy had never seen anything like what was coming. Earth, once thought weak and naive, was about to show the full extent of its power. The enemy was angry. They had underestimated Earth's ability to defend itself, and now they were determined to wipe out the human threat once and for all. The alien fleets, larger and more organized than ever, moved toward Earth, their weapons primed and their intentions clear. This was the galaxy's final attempt to crush humanity's rebellion, and they would spare no effort to do so. But Earth was ready. The military, now bolstered by the full support of its citizens, had been preparing for this moment. Earth's forces were no longer the same. They had developed new weapons, technologies, and strategies, each more advanced than the last. The human race had spent every waking hour training, improving, and readying itself for this battle. The war had brought out the best in them: innovation, determination, and a willingness to do whatever it took to win. In the depths of Earth's command centers, military leaders gathered to finalize their plans. The strategy was bold and risky. Humanity had learned from its past victories, but it also knew that the alien forces would not make the same mistakes again. This would be the ultimate test of their will to survive. It was not just a fight for Earth. It was a fight for the future of the human race. As the alien fleets approached, Earth's military forces launched their first wave of attacks. The battle began in space, with both sides firing at full force. The galaxy's most advanced ships were met with a surprising resistance. Earth's newly designed weapons, crafted with human ingenuity, struck harder and faster than ever before. The alien fleets, caught off guard by the sheer unpredictability of humanity's tactics, were thrown into chaos. But the battle didn't stay in space for long. The alien ships, realizing that Earth was not backing down, began their assault on the planet's surface. Bombs fell from the sky, cities were shattered, and millions of lives were lost. The aliens were determined to break humanity's spirit, to destroy their will to fight. But they underestimated one thing: the resolve of Earth's people. On the ground, humanity fought with everything they had. Soldiers, civilians, and resistance fighters alike stood side by side, defending their homes with unyielding courage. The streets of Earth's cities became battlefields. Every human was a soldier in this fight, and every city became a symbol of Earth's defiance. They had lost so much, but they had not lost their hope. They would fight until the last breath, and they would not surrender. The tension was unbearable. Every minute felt like a lifetime as the alien forces advanced, but humanity held its ground. The humans were relentless, outwitting their enemies at every turn. Alien ships were disabled, their forces scattered. But even as Earth's defenses held strong, the battle raged on. The galaxy had underestimated humanity before, and now they were paying the price. As the final assault loomed, Earth's forces prepared for one last, all-out attack. This would be the defining moment of the war. Humanity had the power to end it here, to drive the alien invaders from their world once and for all. But it would take everything they had. There could be no hesitation. Every fighter, every soldier, every scientist and engineer had to do their part. The final confrontation was about to unfold. Earth's military forces, now unified and stronger than ever, charged into battle. The alien fleets, determined to crush humanity's spirit, launched their final strike. But Earth's fighters, fueled by the victories of the past and the desire for survival, pushed back harder than ever before. The galaxy's most powerful empires were no match for the will of a united human race. Earth's triumph. The final battle had arrived, and everything hung in the balance. Earth's military had united under one cause: survival. The alien forces, angry and humiliated by their earlier defeat, had thrown everything they had at the planet. They had underestimated humanity's strength for far too long, and now they would pay the price. This would be the last stand. In space, the battle raged. Alien ships, some of the most advanced the galaxy had ever seen, collided with humanity's forces in a brutal, chaotic clash. The stars above Earth were filled with explosions, flashes of light, and the sound of weapons fire. The alien invaders had arrived in full force, but Earth's forces were ready. On the ground, Earth's cities, though battered and broken from previous attacks, were not yet lost. Soldiers, civilians, and resistance fighters had come together to make one last stand. From the ruins of their cities, humanity fought like never before. Each soldier knew this was the moment that would determine the fate of their world. But humanity's strength lay not just in its weapons or military might. It lay in the hearts of its people. Every human, whether soldier or civilian, had felt the weight of the galaxy's mocking laughter. Every person had suffered under alien oppression. And now, they all stood united, determined to fight back with everything they had. The alien forces, once confident in their ability to crush Earth's resistance, were beginning to falter. Earth's new weapons, designed with human ingenuity, had turned the tide. The alien ships, powerful and advanced, were being torn apart by Earth's unpredictable tactics. Alien commanders struggled to keep their forces together as Earth's military pushed forward with relentless determination. The final blow came when a group of Earth's elite forces launched a daring assault on the heart of the alien command center, located deep within the largest invading fleet. Using their new technology, they infiltrated the enemy flagship, bypassing security and disabling its core systems. The alien fleet, without its command center, fell into disarray. With the invaders' leadership destroyed, the remaining alien ships scattered in confusion. Humanity's forces didn't stop there. They pursued the scattered alien ships, finishing what had been started. The remaining fleets, unable to regroup, were wiped out, and the invaders retreated, humiliated and broken. The galaxy would never look at Earth the same way again. Earth's victory was not just a military achievement. It was a triumph of human spirit. The mocking laughter that had echoed through the galaxy for so long was now replaced with stunned silence. Humanity had not only survived, they had shown the galaxy that they were a force to be reckoned with. The war was over, and Earth had won. In the aftermath, Earth's leaders stood before the people, addressing a world that had just faced down extinction and emerged victorious. The scars of war were everywhere, but the humans were alive, their world intact, and their pride restored. The galaxy had learned a hard lesson. Earth was no longer a planet to be mocked or ignored. The victory was celebrated across the planet. People danced in the streets, celebrating the survival of their species. But even in their joy, they knew the battle had come at a heavy cost. Many had fallen, and the scars of war would never fade. But Earth had proven that no matter how much the galaxy laughed, humanity would always rise. Humanity's revenge had been unstoppable. The galaxy would never underestimate them again. Earth had shown that kindness, while powerful, was not the only strength they had. Earth's true strength lay in its resilience, its unity, and its refusal to be crushed under the weight of others' mockery. The mocking had stopped, and now Earth stood tall, proud, united, and unstoppable.